You know, you spend 5 years with someone, and you think you know every single thing about them. You know their weird little habits, the way they smile when they're genuinely happy, the stupid things they laugh at on YouTube. You think you know their soul. But what if all of that, every single moment, every quiet promise, every time you held their hand, was built on a lie? A shiny, beautiful lie that looked exactly like the truth until it didn't. I met Alex at a coffee shop near my apartment. I was trying to study for finals, and he kept getting up to get more coffee, bumping my table every time. After the third time, I just gave him this look, and he just laughed. A deep, honest laugh. He told me he was a software engineer and that he was working on a project that was driving him insane. We talked for hours that day, and it just felt so easy, so natural, like we were meant to find each other in that small, crowded coffee shop. We dated for 5 years after that, and they were the best years of my life. I mean, Alex was just perfect. He was a guy you could take home to your parents. My dad, who is not an easy man to please, loved him. My mom would always say, "Honey, you got a good one." He's so sweet and so loyal. He never forgot my birthday. He always remembered to ask about my family, and he was the one person I could talk to about anything. He was my rock, and I genuinely believed I was his. About a month ago, Alex came over to my apartment, and he was acting strange. Nervous, you know? He was pacing around the living room, running his hands through his hair. I was trying to watch a movie, and finally I just paused it and said, "Alex, what is wrong with you? Are you sick?" He stopped pacing, looked at me, and his eyes were just full of hope and a little bit of fear. And then he did it. He knelt down right there in the middle of my living room. I swear my heart stopped. This was it, the moment I'd been dreaming of for years. He didn't have a box or anything. He just pulled this ring out of his pocket and held it up. It was beautiful, a big, round diamond in a simple silver setting. It wasn't flashy or over the top. It was elegant. It was exactly my style. And then he said something that made my heart completely melt. He said, "This is my great-grandmother's ring. It's been in my family for generations. I want you to be the one to wear it next. I love you more than anything." I was speechless. The ring, the gesture, the fact that he was trusting me with something so sacred. This wasn't just a piece of jewelry. It was a piece of his family's history. It felt like he was giving me everything. I didn't even look at the ring again. I just started crying and threw my arms around his neck, whispering, "Yes, a million times yes." He put the ring on my finger, and it fit perfectly. It felt like it was meant to be there. I showed it to everyone. I took pictures of it on my hand, the sunlight catching the diamond, and posted it on my Instagram with a sappy caption about how happy I was. Everyone loved it. Alex's mom called me, his dad, his brother. Everyone was so excited. His sister, Qley, called me too. "Oh my God, I'm so happy for you," she said. "That ring, it's been in our family forever. I can't believe he's giving it to you." I remember feeling a little flicker of something, maybe pride, that he chose me to carry on this legacy, that he chose me over his own sister. I just said, "I know, I feel so special." We laughed, we gushed, and I hung up the phone feeling like the luckiest woman on earth. A few weeks later, we went to a big family gathering at Alex's parents' house. All the aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone was there. I was showing my ring off to Alex's Aunt Carol when Qley walked into the room, and then my blood went cold. I looked at her hand, and there it was. A ring that was an exact match to mine. The same silver setting, the same big, round diamond. I actually stopped mid-sentence. I just stared at her hand, and then at mine and back at hers. My heart was pounding. Aunt Carol noticed my silence. "Oh, that's Qley's heirloom ring," she said. "Isn't it beautiful?" Her grandmother gave it to her when she turned 30. I felt like the ground was falling out from under me. I pulled my hand back, and the ring on my finger suddenly felt heavy. Fake. I looked up at Alex, who was on the other side of the room, talking to his dad. He was laughing, totally oblivious. Or maybe he wasn't. Maybe he knew exactly what was happening. I felt a knot form in my stomach. The ring, the family heirloom, it wasn't the one on my finger. The real one was on Qley's hand. I needed to get out of there. My mind was racing, trying to come up with some kind of explanation. I felt sick. I just had to get him alone and ask him what the hell was going on. I smiled and nodded, pretending to be fine, but inside, I was already falling apart. The lie had been beautiful, but now that the truth was peeking through, it was more agonizing minutes. It was all I could see. I finally managed to get Alex's attention. I couldn't breathe in that room anymore. I faked a headache and told him I needed some fresh air. He looked concerned and followed me outside to the porch. As soon as the door closed behind us, I turned on him. "Alex, what is going on?" I said, trying to keep my voice low and steady, but I could feel it shaking. "Aunt Carol just showed me Qley's ring. She said it was the family heirloom. It looks exactly like mine." He immediately looked away. He wouldn't meet my eyes. He was staring at his shoes, at the ground, anywhere but at me. And in that moment, I knew that sick feeling in my stomach wasn't a headache. It was my gut screaming at me. It's a family ring," he stammered, his voice tight. "My mom gave it to Qley years ago. It's her engagement ring, too. She's had it a while." I just stared at him. The lie was so lazy, so transparent. He'd told me this ring was his great-grandmother's and that it was being passed down to me. But the real one had been passed to his sister. "So what is this?" I said, holding out my hand, the fake ring glittering in the porch light. It suddenly looked cheap. Plastic. The beautiful, sparkling diamond I'd been so proud of for weeks now just looked like a piece of glass. He finally looked up, and his face was a mask of shame and guilt. "Look, I'm sorry," he said. The words came out in a rush. "I want to get you a ring, a real one, but I couldn't afford it." I was stunned. I felt like I was in a movie, watching a scene I couldn't believe was real. "You couldn't afford it?" I repeated, my voice rising a little. "Alex, you're a software engineer. You make good money. What do you mean you couldn't afford it? The one you gave me is beautiful. Even if it was a fake, it still had to cost something." He looked even more miserable. "It's not just that. There's something else. I had to sell the real ring." And that was it. That was the phrase that shattered everything. The real ring. The one I saw on Qley's finger was the real one. So what did he sell? My mind was racing, trying to put the pieces together. I was so confused, so hurt. "Alex, what are you talking about? What real ring did you sell?" I asked, my heart pounding in my ears. He took a shaky breath, his shoulders slumping. I had a gambling problem. I'm in debt. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. Gambling debt. Alex? The loyal, stable guy who I thought I knew better than anyone? No, it couldn't be true. But his face said everything. The shame, the pain, the absolute exhaustion of carrying this secret. "How much?" I whispered, my voice barely audible. He shook his head, looking away again. "A lot. Enough that I had to sell the family heirloom." He finally looked at me, and his eyes were full of tears. "I sold a year ago. It was supposed to be a loan, just for a couple of months. But I got in too deep, and I couldn't get out. I couldn't speak. I couldn't even think. All I could feel was this wave of betrayal washing over me. He'd lied about the ring, but that wasn't the real lie. The real lie was that I knew him. The real lie was that our future was built on a solid foundation. The real lie was that he was the man I thought he was. All this time, I thought he was saving up for our future, for a house, for our wedding. I thought he was just being financially responsible. He always said he wanted to wait until we were both on solid footing before we got married. I thought that was mature. Instead, he was hiding a secret that could ruin us both. The ring. It was just the physical manifestation of all the hidden things he hadn't told me. It wasn't just a fake ring, it was a fake relationship. And I had no idea how I could ever try to process everything he was saying. Gambling debt. He sold the ring. The real ring. The one that was meant to be mine. It was all a lie. The love story, the grand gesture, the family heirloom, he presented to me on one knee. It was all a cheap stunt to cover up a mistake that was bigger than a ring, bigger than a lie. It was a secret that had been festering in our relationship for a year. I felt like I was going to be sick. "Who did you sell it to?" I asked, my voice flat. My heart had stopped pounding. It felt cold and heavy in my chest. He hesitated, then said in a choked voice, "A pawn shop." I was desperate. I had to pay off a bad bet. A pawn shop. The generations-old, priceless heirloom that was a symbol of his family's love and history was now in some dusty display case in a pawn shop. I couldn't even look at him. I just stared at the fake ring on my finger, turning it over and over. It was so pathetic. "So you bought this fake thing. to replace it?" I asked, looking up at him finally. "And you let me tell everyone it was the family ring? You let me tell Qley how happy I was to be a part of the family legacy?" He was crying now. Big, silent tears were streaming down his face. "I'm so sorry. I know I messed up. I couldn't tell you the truth. I was so ashamed." Ashamed. The word hung in the air between us. He was ashamed, but he was willing to lie to me for weeks. He was willing to let me believe a beautiful fairy tale that wasn't real. He was willing to watch me show off a fake ring to his entire family, knowing that any of them could expose him at any moment. He risked my humiliation, my heartbreak, because he was too ashamed to tell me the truth. The anger was starting to rise up in my throat, a hot, bitter taste. It wasn't just about the ring anymore. It was about everything. The trust, the foundation of our relationship. Everything I thought we had built was a house of cards, and he was the one who was just waiting for it to all come crashing down. "Alex, I don't even know who you are," I said. It was the truest thing I'd said all night. The man I thought I was going to marry, he would never have done something like this. The man I thought I knew was honest. He was loyal. He was someone I could trust with my life. He tried to reach for me, but I stepped back, recoiling from his touch. The betrayal was so deep, it felt physical. "I love you," he whispered, his voice cracking. "I know I screwed up, but I love you more than anything. I'll make it right. I'll go to a meeting, I'll get a new job, I'll do whatever it takes. Please don't leave me." But the words felt hollow. I just couldn't hear them. I looked at my hand, at the cheap, glittering lie on my finger, and then at the door, where the sound of his family's laughter and conversation was drifting out to us on the porch. The family he told me was giving me an heirloom ring. The family who knew the truth. All of them. His parents, his siblings, did they know? Was Qley in on it? Did she know that the ring on my hand was a cheap replica of hers? That thought was the final stab. I wasn't just betrayed by my boyfriend. I was betrayed by a whole family. A family I was about to marry into. They let me be the fool. Let me live this ridiculous lie, all while knowing the truth. The humiliation was unbearable. It felt like I was standing naked in front of them all, a spectacle, a joke. And the worst part was, I had no idea who to blame more. Him for the secret, or me for what felt like an eternity. The porch light was a dim, yellow halo around his head, and his tear-streaked face looked alien to me. Everything he was saying, it was just noise. My mind kept replaying the image of Qley's hand, the light catching the real diamond. The diamond that was supposed to be mine. I couldn't stay there another second. I couldn't be near him, near his family. I needed to breathe. So I walked away. I didn't say anything. I just turned and went down the porch steps, across the manicured lawn, and toward my car. I heard him call my name. "Wait, please don't go. Where are you going?" I didn't answer. I just kept walking. The humiliation was a raw, burning sensation in my chest, and I just needed to be alone. I got in my car, started the engine, and drove away, leaving him standing there in the pale glow of the porch light, a silhouette of a man I didn't know anymore. I drove for hours. I didn't have a destination. I just drove. My mind was a mess, and my heart felt like it had been shredded. The fake ring on my finger felt like a brand, a permanent mark of my foolishness. I finally pulled over at a rest stop and just sat there, staring at the ring. I felt a mix of anger and sadness, and an overwhelming sense of embarrassment. My whole life with him, it was a lie. He didn't trust me with his problems. He didn't trust me with his truth. He just wanted to keep the lie going as long as he could. I knew what I had to do. I took the ring off, looked at it one last time, and put it in the glove compartment. It was the last thing I would take from him. I wanted nothing to do with it, or with him. I went back to my apartment the next day. He wasn't there, but a note was on the door. "Please talk to me. I love you." I didn't even read the rest of it. I just crumpled it up and threw it in the trash. I gathered all his things, packed them in a box, and left them by the front door with a key to his place. I didn't want to see him. I didn't want to hear his excuses or his apologies. The lies were too big, and the betrayal was too deep. He kept calling and texting me for a few weeks, but I never responded. My friends and family were shocked when I told them what happened, but they were also a little relieved. They all said they had noticed something was off about him, that he was a little too good to be true. I just wish I had seen it sooner. It's been a few months now, I've been trying to put my life back together. It's not easy. Every time I see a couple getting engaged on social media, I feel a pang of sadness. I wonder if they're just as honest with each other as they seem. I wonder if they're building a relationship on a solid foundation, or if it's just a house of cards waiting to fall. I don't know what happened to the real ring. I don't know if Alex ever got his debt under control. I don't know, and I don't want to know. My relationship with Alex is over. I can't be with someone who can lie to me about something so fundamental, who would put their own shame and fear before my feelings. It's just not possible. The whole thing taught me a lot about trust, about what it means to be truly honest with someone, and about what it means to be fooled. It's a hard lesson, but I needed to learn it. I'm not saying I'll never love again, but the next time, I'll be looking for more than just a beautiful diamond. I'll be looking for a man who is honest and who is brave enough to share his whole life with me. The good, the bad, and the ugly. No secrets, no lies, just the truth. And that, I've realized, is worth more than any heirloom.